2, 1. Are we live? Are we live? I'm live. Are you live? I'm all the way live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Fabulites. This is Angela with another edition of Notes on the News, where I share with you headlines from my news feed and my thoughts and ideas and perspectives about those headlines, just so that we can get a survey of what's going on in the world and what's going on in our world and try to piece some things together. Hey, thanks for the like. Welcome in. There I go yelling at people again. I'm Angela. The channel is Be Fabulous You. Let us proceed. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and all of those good things that we do. We're working on 1,000 subscribers, so all of just being here is a blessing and a wonderful thing. So thanks for clicking on the video or coming in live and seeing how we get from opening to closing with our notes on the news feed today. Okay, so Jared Kushner, peace and love, sis. Love like the sun. Hi, Andres Dio. My accent is terrible. Just forgive me. Jared Kushner's company filed, hey, Yappa. Jared Kushner's company filed fake rent control paperwork about its properties in order to turn a massive profit. So I never really lived in a rent control apartment in New York, but you know, rents can be very expensive in New York. So I guess what their hustle was, or who know, I assume the whole family and the network has an abundance of hustles. But they would say, oh, we're only charging people this amount of money, $500 a month, and they were charging people $1,500 or $2,000 a month. So I don't know. It's not really a surprise, is it? I'm not surprised. Catalan independence. Puigdemont moots Swiss model attractive. Now, I don't know what moots mean. I think of that as like mooting something, making it quiet. But I think that what he was saying is that he thought that the Swiss model would be attractive for Catalan's independence. Now, Puigdemont was the one who was the leader, who's like living in Belgium or someplace like kind of in exile now. So, you know, they continue to be in the news. I still don't really quite have a good theory, strong theory about what go on there, but there's something going on there. Cali man murders ex-wife but survives suicide attempt. I always feel like if you want me to participate, if you want to do a murder-suicide with me, suicide yourself first, and then, you know, just start there, and we'll work out the details. So she dead, and he's still alive. Okay. So rest in peace to her, and peace to her family and her community, and I guess peace to him. Don't be out here trying to murder people. Just, you know, I'm sorry that you felt like your life wasn't worth living and it was time for you to end it, but you ain't got to take nobody else with you, do you? It's hard for me to understand the rationale, you know, even of taking your own life. Thanks to you, Brother Yappa, for sending me to your channel, sister. Oh, thank you, Brother Yappa. Firefighter fired after sharing racist McDonald's meme on Facebook. Now, I was kind of curious. I was like, well, did they do something with the M to make it into you know, what was it? So I actually read the article, and I was kind of surprised, because if a black person had posted up that meme, I would have just been like, I wouldn't have characterized it as racist. He said something like, N-words out here talking about be on your grind, and they working at McDonald's. Grind me up a McFlurry, sir, or whatever. So I feel like, hey, Bella. I feel like black, hey, girl. What's up, my, yeah, I know, I'm back. I didn't say hi to you. Okay. So yeah, so come on. Okay, well, go on then. Thank you. Okay, let's keep it moving. Black Muslim firefighter. So here we got two conversations about firefighters. Now, what I did think was interesting about the whole firefighter thing is, in my head, cops and firefighters are like in this same, like the brotherhood of whiteness category. I don't know why. I don't know if it's like when they start cutting, you know, when they protect the money for police, they protect the money for firefighters. I don't know how they've gotten linked in my mind, but I've always thought of firefighters as, you know, basically the same type of racist brotherhood as I think of cops as, for the most part. But so, you know, you got that article. And then Black Muslim firefighter finally files suit against FDNY after 12 years of harassment, Fire Department of New York. So he said that he was harassed for his religion and I guess his color. I think, yeah, Black Muslim, you know, for 12 years, and he filed suit. And I don't know, you know, I guess when we're in these situations, I think there are a couple of things. Like, I think as a woman and probably as a Black person, a lot of times there's like a certain low grade of, thank you. There's a certain amount of low grade hostility that you almost just expect. And so, like, are you going to sue somebody every time they say something ignorant if you're working someplace? And, you know, like, when does it escalate to the point where you're like, okay, enough already, I'm going to sue? And then when you sue, I mean, are you really thinking that anything is going to get better? If you're working in a field, if you're a firefighter, if you're whatever, if you sue, then that like can hamper your ability to do the work in your field, because people will be like, oh, that's the one who was out here suing men, you know, and causing trouble. She's a troublemaker. He's a troublemaker, you know. So I don't know. I mean, you know, it's sort of, so maybe he felt like the time was right to be suing. I'm assuming it's a man, you know, but, you know, you feel like 12 years. And then it's kind of like, I know, hey, Rowdy Chica. I know for me, it's sort of like sometimes in life, you know, especially as you get old, especially as I've gotten older, you can look up and be like, oh my gosh. Like, I remember my first job out of college. It was like, I look back after I finally left and I'm like, I was complaining about this job for a year. When I looked at my journals, I'm like, oh, it's like being in a domestic violence situation. You know, they got the good cop back. You know, I was just like, it was a lot going on. And I'm like, for a year. And now there's stuff that's probably been going on in my life for 20 years. Just keep talking to Angela. Love like the sun. And I will keep singing you praises for a while between ourselves. Just pretend we're not here. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's very kind and encouraging. We all need encouragement. You know, so maybe, you know, 12 years into something, you're just like, any person can be racist. Maybe 12 years into something, you're just like, you know, wait a second, or, you know, like, it's like 12 years can go by. And I think that, you know, I think that racism and sexism and hostility toward people is systemic. I think it's part of the system. I think it's systematic. So I think we're all, you know, if you grow up in a system that hates women and hates Black people, then even if you're a Black woman, you're going to have some hatred toward Black people and some hatred and hostility toward women in your system. And it's like a battle and a fight, you know, for all of us, you know, to treat human beings as human beings and to recognize even sometimes the humanity in ourselves, you know. So yeah, I could accept that argument. Samuel L. Jackson snapped having dinner with BFF Judge Judy. Now, I don't know if y'all know who Judge Judy is. I think Samuel L. Jackson is that actor who's good for, he seems like he's good for cussing somebody out to me. He seems kind of like on the harder side. Like, he don't seem like the softer, nicer guy. If it's who I'm thinking, if it's the actor I'm thinking about, he seems kind of like hardcore. And Judge Judy, she has the impression, if that's the older Jewish woman, she seems kind of hardcore to me too. She said, if it's who I'm thinking of, she said, I'm 77 years old. I exercise every day. I keep myself in good shape. And if my husband was not in good shape, I would leave him, as she's taking a picture in her bikini. I'm like, dang, that woman. And when I watched her show, she's like, you're lying. And I'm like, how does she's so confident in her, like, you're lying. This is the truth. This is that. It's just kind of like, so they might, I don't know if they're BFFs, but they seem to have a similar vibration. Say what again? Say what again? Pulp Fiction. Yeah, that's the actor that I'm thinking about. Both of them seem kind of like hard to me. Because how's she going to leave her husband for getting pudgy? Because she like, I'm not getting pudgy. So I accept no pudginess from anybody. Maybe he wanted to break the cycle. Hey, Frank G. So, break what cycle? Anyway, United Airlines, because I feel like Black men and white women have always, you know, like your point, sis, just remember whenever you're at a point when you have to sue someone, a business or a company you're working for, you have to plan your exit strategy before suing. And then I know when like the times when I've been in situations where I felt like, oh my gosh, this work is really draining me. It was like you had to find the mental energy to get that exit strategy together, to get those next steps together. And it's like, it's not like just, oh, you work 9 to 5. It's like if you work 9 to 5, but you feel like you don't work 9 to 12, you get home, you tired, you exhausted, you wore out, you beat down. And then you got to be trying to like have the energy to like be out there and generate new stuff. To me, it's more than a notion. United Airlines employees say constant pressure and understaffing are the main reasons for disasters like dog dying in an overhead bin. That's exactly what I thought when I saw that story. I'm like, oh, those people, that's a corporate, their corporation is jacking them up, you know, because that's not like any human being under normal circumstances, you know. But anyway, mothers took children to a mosque and live stream their hateful tirade. Now, I saw this on Facebook, and it was just so sad and so disturbing and just so, and the little kids looked like they were like, they had their faces blurred out, but they seemed like 5, 7, like little kids. And it's like they're training them up. Like, you know, little kids were like, yeah, Muslims smell like goats or whatever. And it was like, the mother was like, yes, you know, the way that, you know, normal people would encourage their children, you know, new crop coming up, the way that normal people would encourage their children, you know, it was just like they were encouraged. I was like, wow, it was, I mean, I guess in some sense, you know, that's what's happening because you have little kids in college, you have kids in high school. In Michigan, we had the junior high students who were like, build the wall when Zero got elected. So it's like, you know, it's not just coming out of nowhere, but just, I don't know what it was for me about hearing it. I think it's like, I mean, you know, it exists, but it's just, the kid, no, it was like a mother, it seemed like 2 adults in the front seat, or it might have been a woman in the front seat and 2 or 3 children. And then they were driving and they were like, I guess going to a mosque and like, you know, oh yeah, they even have their own clothing store. And then they went into the mosque, and I didn't see them do any vandalism, but I heard somewhere that they were going to be, you know, pursued for vandalism. But they were like getting brochures, and then when they left, the kids were like, dang, we should have had our dogs here so that we could have them piss on it. And then they were like, yeah, we're gonna take these brochures and rub boo-boo all over it. And the mother was like, don't touch that because they're Satan and they believe in Satan. And I can't even really, I know I'm not doing a good job of capturing it, but it was just like, and the kids were like, yeah, so, but there is so much positivity in the world too. But I mean, you know, so just, I guess in my life, I don't really encounter that. And the people that I see, you know, the children, you know, it's like I just see a whole different vibration with children. So seeing it was just like, oh my gosh, right. And every time you turn around, one of them is getting in trouble for being in blackface, and seeing others punished for it still doesn't stop them. Right. Because that's like part of their, like when you heard how that mother was like encouraging and you know, children, I mean, your parents, that's your mama, you know, like, and they were like trying to like, yes, take it to the next level. Like take what it was, yeah. Yeah, it was disturbing to me. And I don't know why it was surprising, but it was still surprising to me. Like, I think I know intellectually, oh yeah, this is definitely happening. But hearing the footage and, you know, I didn't do a good job of describing it. I know, because it was just ignorance. She was just spewing ignorance at the children, and the children were, you know, they were having a feedback loop, and it was just Mayat, which I've never heard of, unrest. French island residents round up foreigners. They say that 70% of the children born on the island are illegal. The island seems to be someplace off the coast of Africa, but there's another island that, like Madagascar, like there are a few, but this Mayat, I've never heard of it. They voted in 1975, I think they got their freedom from France. I think they voted overwhelmingly in 1990 to be a French I don't know if colony is really the word. France is talking about turning them into a colony so that people don't automatically get citizenship when they're born there, because but I've never even heard of Mayotte. Mayotte. More like take it down to level. You know, this is the first I'm hearing of it. I'm going to have to do some research. But anyway, it's a French island. Y'all know how I feel about the French. The U.S., guilty of more election meddling than Russia has done to other countries for over a century. Now, you know, this is what I've tried to keep in my consciousness. At the same time, you know, that we're like, you know, I'm like, oh, someone is talking about our FBI? What? Someone is meddling in our elections? I have to remember that I understand what the United States does in the world and what the FBI does in the world. The FBI is not a progressive organization, and the United States it does not operate like a democracy in the world does not. So, you know, there's a lot of janky stuff. So anyway, I was just happy to see, was it Atlanta Black Star? Like, yeah, let's, you know, keep things in context. Let's keep things, you know, this is an imperialistic, colonialistic, post-colonial, whatever. We out there, this country is out there doing the most to other countries, and it's not positive and progressive. Mothers charged with felonies after vandalizing Muslim mosque with children on YouTube. Yeah, probably don't go, because it's just negative. But it's, I don't know. Somalia clans secure peace with death sentence and hefty fines. So they were talking about in Somalia, there's like there has been a tradition of, let's say, that's right, USA have involved themselves in half the nations around the world's elections. Guess it's our turn. Yeah. And, you know, I know that there have been times when, you know, when people say the chickens come home to roost, or, you know, with 911, I'm just surprised, considering how we are in the world. I'm surprised that more people don't come over here and harass us. But, I mean, don't let anybody say that, because then it's like, oh, you're just... But it just seemed like common sense. Like, if I'm constantly beating you upside the head, if you hit me, why am I shocked, you know? But, you know, so in Somalia, apparently they had, or this is what the article is saying, I don't know if it's apparent or not, but there's been a long tradition. Like, let's say I kill somebody in your family and then I leave. I'm like, I'm leaving Somalia, I'm going to the United States. The family where somebody got killed is like, well, Angela killed somebody, so I don't care if she's in the United States or not. All of her family for generations to come is going to pay for that death. So it's like a vendetta that, like, they use the specific language, but it's like vendettas and, like, you know, revenge that goes back like generations, you know. And so now these two major clans, or these two major groups, have come to a peace deal. I don't know how it happened. Like, I don't know if they said, okay, we gonna kill, you know, Mary and John, and then that's gonna be the end of it. Mary is gonna take all of any killing that's been, you know, I don't know if they killing some people fresh, or if they just backdating. Like, okay, the last two people who got killed, those the last two people that got killed, and now we're gonna go fresh from here forward. But that's what they're saying. You know, no more blood rivalries. It's some language that they use that has to do with, like, you know, I hold a vendetta against your family forever, you know, because of this wrong that your family has done to my family's people. So now if you do that, according to this, you'll get the death sentence and hefty fines if you kill somebody. You know, it's like it's a clean slate, supposedly. But I was sort of curious about the names, and I was sort of curious because Somalia, you know, like, the name sort of seemed Middle Eastern to me. And I know that, like, in modern times, Somalia seems more Middle Eastern, but it also, you know, I was just kind of curious about, like, the ethnicity in the history and the context of that. They will come for you. A third Russian exile in Britain is getting death threats after nerve. I like what you say about the Mayan calendar a few days ago. Perhaps a shift did happen. It's just gradual instead of some sudden death. We have to believe that. And then also, I tell you my belief about our ancestors. Like, I feel like we have an abundance of ancestors on the other side but see, before we didn't have ancestors who understood the system, who had been a part of the system, who knew how it was wrong intimately and knew how to help us. But now we have ancestors a lot of more and more ancestors who, you know, were engaged in the same fight that we're engaged in. See, for a while, so I feel like the balance has to be shifting. That's what I just have to believe. So like, you know, the sister in Brazil, you know, it was like she had a certain consciousness, and you believe that also. She was doing certain work, and she made her transition. She made her transition in action. She made her transition doing that work. You know what I mean? So like, you know, I heard somebody say a long time ago, rest in power. You know, and they, you know, yeah, so I'm coming from a funeral, you know, yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So a third Russian exile in Britain is getting death threats. So for some reason in my head, it had already been 5 Russian folks that had been killed, but I guess 2 have been killed. And now a third got an email being like, yeah, they coming for you 2 next, like in the movies, you know? So, you know, yeah, I don't know. Prince Harry passes on prenup before marrying Meghan Markle. And I was like, is she asking him for a prenup, or is he not going to ask her for one? I didn't really understand. But then when I clicked on the article, they said that his monetary worth is 25 to 40,000, and hers, 25 to 40 million, and hers is like 5 million or 5 billion, probably million. But she's probably not no billionaire. So, you know, he's just, you know, in it for the love. And I guess the other, the last royal people who got married, they were in it for love too, I guess. I don't know. A 70-year-old man unleashes racist tirade on black flight attendant forced off a flight. He said he don't want no black people serving him or whatever. And so he was, I guess, just going off, and they had to put him off the plane. But for some reason, I don't think it was in the U.S. This is coming off of Atlanta Black Star. But, you know, 70 years old, that's the age of 0. That's, you know, I guess they're just feeling really like, or maybe we're just hearing about it more, but they just feeling themselves. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling you know, they just feeling real. They can't help themselves. It's like they probably feel like, just like how I'm like, okay, the tide has turned, brothers and sisters. Stay strong. Keep the vision. Keep fighting. You know, that's probably how they are, like, or maybe it's their last gasp. I don't know. He was flying on Spanish airliner Benter Canarias when he reportedly said to the staffer, I don't want blacks around me. So anyway, so that was international. See, this stuff is like, it's not just here. Greenland lost buoy washed up on Sutherland Beach. If Price, what's his name, was not signing a Prince, there was something up with that. I'm sure there's a future benefit. Yeah, I don't know. It's not love. I just can't understand the celebration of Meghan Markle's you know, blackness, but I mean, you know, whatever. Or the anger against it too. I'm like, if you didn't know that child's mama, I wouldn't know. So there was like in Greenland, they had like a buoy, like I think it's something that floats in the water, and it had instruments in it, like it was measuring things. It was like a scientific type buoy, and they lost track of it, and it floated to someplace. It washed up on Sutherland Beach, and I don't know where that is. Scott Highlands, UK. So maybe that's where it is. But I think they were trying to like figure out the movement patterns. So it's been a little while since it disappeared, but now it's reappeared. So I guess they're going to get some good information. Tennessee resolution denouncing neo-Nazis dies in just 36 seconds. So this person is like, I'm in Congress. Everything that nation does serves a purpose. Nothing is done for love in that nation. Yeah. And then they're like, you know, just like I was watching that TV show, The Crown, and it's like the weight of the crown and their responsibility, and like, yeah, they ain't just out here willy-nilly. But then again, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Because he's, yeah. So this person is like, I'm in Congress. I'm gonna, you know, make some changes. Not Congress, because I think this is like in Tennessee, like, so not nationally, but you know, in Tennessee. And they're like, okay, let's put a resolution saying that we're opposed to neo-Nazis. And he couldn't get a second, or she couldn't get a second. And they were just shocked. And that's like I heard in like some Christian organization years ago, like in the 60s, they tried to have like in the Baptist convention, that they tried to get like a resolution going saying like, hey, you know, we are against racism. And they couldn't really get, you know, people to agree that we're against racism. So they right in their tradition, actually, you know, the what are the evangelicals or whatever? That's their thing. The Dancing Slum Kids tipped for stardom by Rihanna. What? I'm shocked. I know I be giving all the shocking news. This is the stuff you don't know. Some of this stuff I'm like, I don't even know why. But it catches my attention for whatever reason. New leader, people that don't like blacks speak up. I don't know. The pioneering sergeant turned activist. I don't know what that is. But anyway, Rihanna is, you know, done got it was some little group of little brown looking, black looking children, you know, and I guess, you know, she done tapped them for something. So, yay, you know, because little black kids need all the help they can get worldwide. Why Angolan singer Toti Samed sings songs in Kimbundu. Kimbundu is the language of one of the languages of Angola, and it's very few people speak that language. He doesn't speak the language, but he does sing in the language because he's lost. I think when he was a child, he kind of fought against learning it, and now there aren't very many people who speak it, and so he's trying to keep that language alive. Kimbundu. Yeah, that's all I remember about it. But I feel like I want to learn, you know, I think there's two things. Like one, I remember some native folks at a museum event I was at, and they were saying things in their language, and they were saying things in, you know, like, you know, using their language. And they're like, we are not dead. We're still here. Our language is still here. Our culture is still here. And it's like, if we don't, I just appreciated that. And that was the first person who I heard. That was the first time that I heard people talk about, you know, well, what does your space look like? Is your space a reflection of your existence? Is your space a reflection of your values? You know, does your Facebook wall look like, you know, who you are and who you purport to be and what's in your heart? You know, your clothes, your hair, how you decorate your house, you know, who you repping, what you repping, you know? Leader Trump. Right, we got a new leader, and it encourages certain people to, you know, behave in certain ways, or I guess, you know, they feel empowered to come out of the closet and just, you know, be proud and loud. And I don't want to say power to them, but, you know, hey, do your thing, you know. But I just believe that, you know, God is got this. Like, you know, I ain't worried about foolishness, because we got too much work and too much good and too much blessing, you know, too much progress to make in the world. Who got time for foolishness? We ain't got time for foolishness. We got too much joy and beauty to spread. Shoot. Speaking up about rape in conservative Kazakhstan, the women looked like really, really white and really Asian to me. And I told you, I'm like really fascinated by where China and Russia, like there's this look, and it's like, it's kind of disorienting to me. But anyway, they were talking about how conservative their community is. And I don't know, you know, I'm kind of confused, because I guess conservative is like now a term for, you know, backward ass shit. Excuse my language, but like, why is it conservative to be like, if you get raped, woman, it's your fault? That just seems like backwards to me, you know, conserving some BS. So let's conserve, you know, let's be conservative and be conserving some positive, productive, progressive stuff that supports the humanity of all people. How about that kind of conservative? You know, I don't like that language. I don't understand, you know, but anyway, that's how we typically think of it. Chicago man accused of murdering wife and abducting kids denied bail. So this one, we started off with somebody who was like doing the whole murder-suicide thing, I guess. Like, you know, I'm going to kill you, then I'm going to kill me. But then it didn't work for him to die. He didn't quite die. But this guy just murdered his wife and abducted his kids. Now, how do you have I mean, I guess it's obviously someone who's crazy, who's out here killing people, you know. But it's sort of like, how do you want to abduct the kids? How are you going to have a wholesome relationship with them when you've killed their mother? Like, how does your mind process that? Like, I mean, that's like so vile and violent. Like, how can you have how can you claim to love your children when you're killing their, killing or dogging out or demeaning or, anything other than big up? And, that's part of who they are. They're deranged and delusional. Yeah. So I guess this is the deranged and delusional report. Shut it down. Aretha Franklin is back on bed rest. Is conservative a code word for unwilling or scared to question authority? I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of curious about, like, just looking at the headline, it kind of made me curious about, like, I never really thought about it. And then I'm like, why is that, but yeah, that's a good question. So Aretha Franklin, I guess, was supposed to do a tour, but now she's back on bed rest. I think they said for 2 months. It might have been 2 weeks, but I think it was 2 months. But I don't understand. I guess in a way I do understand, because like today I just saw somebody who was like having a hard time moving around, and this other woman was saying to me, well, if I get to the point where I can't move around, I basically heard her say, just kill me. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I looked at the person who was having a hard time moving around, and I'm like, they're still moving around, like they're engaged, like, dang, I mean, we killing people. I mean, I don't know. It just I didn't really know how to process it. And I guess I'm still processing it. So I guess with Aretha Franklin, I'm like, girl, sit your behind down. But I guess she want to be out here singing and doing where she feels alive and vibrant and like the gift she feels she has to share. So I guess she don't want to be sitting down in her room on bed rest for 2 months. She want to be out with the people singing and, So, I don't know. I guess when I go, I want to go, in a blaze of glory doing something, I want to go in love, like, woo, not like, but I don't know. The Roots cancel South by Southwest concert after bomb threat. So at first they said it was canceled because of security precautions, but then, it came out that it was a bomb threat. Stephen Hawkins is proof that one can still be useful even if they are unable to move as long as the mind is active, though I wouldn't want to be laid up either. Yeah, broken down reporter, Latina, I missed that. I don't even know how to hit it and get it back. But, and then it's sort of like what if someone's mind isn't active? Should we if we're like, well, their IQ is below this. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, it just seems like life, like there's a sanctity to life to me. And like, I feel like life wants to live. And like, who am I to be like, well, your life ain't worth living because you don't have, your body don't look like this. Your body don't act like this. When B.B. King couldn't move, he sat and performed and still gave great performances. Miss Aretha needs to rest a bit. Please rest. But her doctor is telling her to rest. She probably don't want to rest. So South by Southwest is happening in Austin, I believe. So we know that there have been these bombs. Black folks have been getting bombed in Austin. And I told y'all yesterday, we talked about the fact that there were 3 people who were bombed. 2 of them went to the same church and represented families of leaders in the Black community, I heard, in Austin. And then one of them was on the street of someone who went to that same church, who is part of that same, perhaps, leadership cadre or family of leadership cadre in Austin. So my theory is that the Latina system was probably an error. They was probably trying to get, but anyway, so the Roots are like, I guess once the threat came, they're like, no, we gon' pass. Now I think the Roots are on some nighttime, late night show, but I think that I think I read this article talking about them being on the David Letterman or whatever late night show allows them the security. She was not the intended target. Black folks getting bombed in Austin churches. Didn't hear anything about that. They didn't get bombed in the church. The bombs were delivered to their homes, 2 separate homes. And one was like a 17-year-old upright bass. He was a musician, and he played like you told me the other day, yappa yappa. Now I've already forgotten, but it's like a bass. He played like a big string instrument. And he was promising, but his family was like his father or his grandfather, the bass violin. His father or his grandfather was either like the minister of a big church in Austin, or somehow the article I read asserts that he was the child, or it wasn't the cello. He says it's the bass violin. But is that the same thing as the cello? I don't know. It looked like a cello to me, but I don't, you know. But his family is in leadership. And then the other bomb hit, I think it was like a 29-year-old man. But his father or grandfather is also in leadership in Austin. So someone made the bombs and delivered it to the homes, and the people made their transition, because when the bombs were delivered to the homes and the people opened the door, opened the bombs, I don't even really know how it happened. But anyway, they were targeted and they were assassinated. They were killed. They were bombed. And, you know, but two separate people. There were three that happened. Okay, so did we find the killers? Not that I know of. Now, if you're to believe, like if I'm to believe what I see in the movies and the TV shows, you know, these people who make these bombs, they have like signatures, they have techniques. Like, it's not like a cello is what's placed between the legs and played while seating. Bass violin is played standing. That's the first instrument I learned to play. Oh, you're a musician. See? So I don't know, as far as I know, we haven't found the bombers or the bomber, you know, but it's not like they say. It's not like anybody can't just pick it up. You have to have some training. It's usually not something that you can learn on the internet. If you try to learn it on the internet, you've reaped a whole bunch of havoc before you master your skills. So there's been some, you know, there's some way to connect you to, you know, like you can't just, you know, undercover teach yourself to be a bomber, according to, you know, my understanding, but maybe you can. But no, they didn't catch him. Are they gonna catch him? So anyway, the Roots concert was canceled. Sri Lanka violence, nationwide state of emergency lifted. So in Sri Lanka, I think that they did a state of emergency to keep the Buddhists from killing the Muslims. And so the state of emergency has been lifted. I'm trying to understand this like Muslim hostility in the world. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a theory. I don't understand. I mean, I don't know. Some people say that Muslims are inherently like evil. Like their religion. I don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, the people I know, like in Detroit, like the black Muslim thing is probably different from like, you know, the Muslim thing. Now, we do have some like Sunni Muslim. They say it's dangerous. It's as dangerous to build the bomb as it is to send it. So it definitely takes a degree of skill the average Joe on the street doesn't have. Right. So it's like building it is something, delivering it without it going off is something, and then having it go off. All of that. Because a lot of times people make bombs and like they don't even work, you know, like, so this is not like, it should theoretically be someone who, you know, someone or someone's who could be, you know, and then everybody has a signature, like a way of doing things. Russia goes to the polls in presidential election. No one knows Putin's exact net worth, but many speculate he's the wealthiest person on the planet. His $1 billion palace and $500 million yacht explain why. Am disabled. I always feel people are judging me when walking. Yeah. And I think it's kind of like I was watching Iyanla's thing yesterday, the TV show, and there was like a group of brothers, like 7 brothers, I think it was. And like the oldest one apparently was like had some developmental disability, like in terms of like how he processed information. I wasn't really clear about that. But you know, it was like he was saying how he felt invisible. And I had a friend years ago who I used to study astrology with, and he was hearing impaired, like, you know, and well, he was blind. He was like seeing impaired, but he was like increasingly hearing impaired. And I remember him saying, you know, don't just ignore me, you know? And it's like, sometimes I think about that, because sometimes, like, you know, in certain situations, it's like you just want to, and that's what the young brother was saying on Iyanla yesterday, like he's invisible. He feels like he's invisible. You know, like I think sometimes when we feel uncomfortable with something, we don't really know, you know, and so we just like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to look that way. I'm not going to say, you know, or like, I don't want to say anything. And then he's like, huh? And then you're like, I don't know, huh? And it like, you like, just forget it. I'm just not going to say anything. And it's like, how do we, you know, connect with the humanity in the life that's, you know, it's, yeah. So, and then I feel like we have to do better, you know, with, you know, just, and everybody is like, like, I feel like there's this idea that like, there's like, this is normal. And then there are people, but I feel like there's so many variations in people. Like, I don't even think it's fair or reasonable, you know, like, yeah, we have to do better. So Russia, no one knows Putin's net worth. The 25 schools that make the most money in college basketball, y'all, they making $14 billion a year. Religion has caused most wars around the world. If our family looks into research the genesis of the last three eras, we'll discover new truths. Abrahamic religions, is that what you were saying? Yeah, but I don't know. These college, I don't understand. The college athletes should be paid. When you look at the money that these programs are making, I mean, I was just like astounded. I'm thinking, you know, oh, I don't know what I was thinking, but these programs are making big money. And the programs that are making big money, I hadn't even heard of them. I figured since I'm not an athletic person, that the big programs, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. Because just like rap, I'm not like into rap, but I've like heard of Young M.A. or Young Ma, whatever his name is, and him wearing the dress. Or, you know, some stuff breaks through even to those who aren't in the community. But the Cardinal, oh no, let's see, the Louisville Cardinals, the University of Daytona. Okay, so this is 100,000, 14 million. 14 million. That's a lot of money. I don't even know if this thing is going to let me get it. And I don't know if that was at the top, if that was like number 25, or if that was number 1. But usually they do it from the bottom up. So, I'm in Detroit. I'm in the Midwest. I ain't never even heard of the University of Daytona. And they up there like that. Yeah. Now, when I was in Mississippi, I remember I was fundraising for something. I don't even remember, but I went to a high school game, like high school football. This was football. And I was like, March Madness is making money for everyone but the athletes. And then I read someplace where some athlete had accepted $100,000. And I kind of feel like, if you're in I don't even feel like they should be in trouble for that, because I feel like some people are, like, everybody's making money. They're not supposed to make money. Their family I don't know. I just kind of feel like it's just jacked up. It just sounds dumb to me. Like, I would take the money. I mean, I'd probably be afraid I'd get caught, but I don't blame anybody for trying to. If all the college athletes walk out today and demand to be paid, they will be. Universities are not going to want to lose billions of dollars. Right. They need to organize. They definitely need to organize. Do even professional athletes have a union, or I guess they do? They must have some kind of union for professional athletes, because they seem to have some rules and some guidelines about how that stuff works. The 11 best and worst airlines in America. Now, United was right down there after. This is Consumer Reports. United was like right after, like, what's that cheap airline? Spirit. I think Spirit and Frontier, and then United. Now, United is like a major. They ain't supposed to be down there with Spirit. Kathy Griffin comeback show at Carnegie Hall nearly sells out in a day. I think I've seen her, just like she has shows on Bravo, but I don't think I've ever, like, I think I've watched like a 30 seconds here or a minute there, maybe. I don't even, like, I think if I turn the channel and she's on, I don't even think I've seen it, because I can't remember anything. But the people apparently are excited she's back. She's selling out the house. Carnegie Hall, that ain't no small hall, is it? Right, they're not considered professional. That's the way they avoid paying them. Yeah, that's some bull. I mean, I don't know what, but anyway, when you looked at these numbers, yeah. And then, yeah, a lot of them are, you know, it's like I feel like that whole system is designed to exploit, you know, desperate black and brown people. Because most systems are, so that's why I just extended to that. Meet the woman running the largest black-owned airline in the Bahamas. I don't know who she is. I didn't look it up. But anyway, I didn't even know there was a black-owned airline in the Bahamas. I should, like, fly it just because, I guess. I never really wanted to go to the Bahamas. Like, of all of the Caribbean places, for some reason, you know, it seemed like less progressive. Isn't that, like, I don't know why I got that impression, but they seem like, you know, I don't know. Nevada's coach is concerned about the length of March Madness games because he drinks a lot. I'm like, he drinks a lot, but he tries to hydrate himself, and he don't want to, if he got to go to the bathroom, what's going to happen? That's Nevada's coach. Okay, so that's it. That's all I got for this edition of Notes on the News Feed. I'm so glad that I got back. I'm like, it's going to be all day. Do you know what the airline is? Your next flight will be on that sister's airline. You go to the Bahamas. My best friend, dad, before dying from cancer, was told his son will never get a paying job, autistic. But autistic people get jobs. I mean, I guess it depends on where you are on the spectrum or whatever, but it's coming off of Atlanta Black Star. So if you want to know what the black-owned airline is, you know, if you find out, let us know. Put it in the comments or whatever. We didn't even know. I didn't even know they existed. But I'm watching Real Housewives tonight. I think that's the only thing on my list to watch tonight. So I don't know if I have time to catch up with stuff because, you know, but I do need to catch up with Black Lightning because even though you can't tell because I've been focused on the quad, I really like Black Lightning. And I'm not like a comic book girl, but I like Black Lightning. I like him and his girls. I like them being superheroes. I like, you know, them fighting for the community. And I actually like, I know some people are like, well, Black Lightning, why they got to be fighting, you know, black people? You know, why can't they be fighting white people? But, you know, I like seeing the singer, Jilly from Philly, as a villain. I like that. I enjoy, you know, I like the whole, you know, I like seeing the albino person, and I like the evil characters. So, I mean, or the evil character, you know, I don't know. I guess I like a villain. I like a villain on fake TV. But that's it. Today is the best day ever. Love your show, Angela. Keep them coming. Your positive energy is much needed in social media. Listen, if these crazy ass beasts can get a job, many of our autistic folks ought to perform them. Are out. Yeah. I think as society, we just have to do better. We just have to, and I think that, you know, those of us who have businesses and those of us who, you know, we need to do better. We just need to like reach out and like, you know, connect with people better and connect with the humanity. We need to reach out and connect with people better, you know, because we need each other and everybody brings something to the table. Nobody brings nothing. Nobody is like without a purpose. And we have to like, you know, we need to keep working on that because, you know, we need each other. Love like the sun. All right, peace, y'all. Be you. Be fabulous. Be fabulous, you. Peace. Thanks, Angela. Your show is informative, peaceful, and a joy. Thank you. Thank you. That's sweet.